Hey, it's the Eiffel Diaries again. Today we're going to be working on the VM. I've got to a stage with actors where I have over half of the actors implemented. These some of these are big actors, so I think it's not over half of the code, but I've due to like realizations with like big int encoding and things like that, I kind of wanted to verify that our serializations and the way things work are compliant or conformant sooner rather than later, because when I need to change things like the way things are encoded, it's just getting harder and harder as I add more and more code, because there's just more things that are being serialized that I'd need to change. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to try and get a virtual machine up and running in some way, and then what I can do is I can create some tests or use some existing ones if they're just using the actors that I've got implemented in the test vectors. So I could create new ones basically, so that I could then hopefully run against my VM to verify that it's doing the same thing as Lotus would do. So that's the plan at the moment, is try and build out the other side, so that I have something I can plug test vectors into to prove that these things are operating as they should be, and then I'll come back to implementing the rest of these after that's done. So it's early days yet. I've created a repo for VM for the VM. There's not much here at the moment. I'm trying to implement the runtime, which is interesting. It should not be that difficult because I already have a kind of mock runtime which is in the actors package already, so I kind of know what to expect. But I'm looking at Lotus primarily to copy what's happening there, and do something similar. I've made it a VM package. I kind of like the idea of a VM being a package rather than part of like the JS implementation of Filecoin. But it may well be that this package just becomes the JS implementation, the Eiffel, as it were, if we keep that name. But for now, it will just be the VM. I know that it's been suggested before for the VM to be extracted from Lotus, but I think that was rejected because it is such a large part of Lotus. It is sort of, I think that it was thought that it wouldn't make sense, and also the team working on Lotus are going to be touching that as well as the rest of Lotus at the same time, so having it as a separate package would maybe reduce velocity. But for this and for me, that won't happen right now, so I'm just going to leave it as a separate package for now and then see how that works out. I'm thinking that actually separate repos for this is probably going to become problematic at some point, so we might monorepo it, or I might monorepo it. I think that's probably a good idea. All right, so where are we? Let's have a look. Let's delve into the code. Okay, so I'm looking at runtime right now. What I've done is I've imported, so this is a fun thing. I've imported the runtime from actors. I'm having to import it from the compiled, transpiled, whatever you want to call it, path for in dist. What I really wanted to do is add an exports property to the package JSON in this package, so that I could just not have, basically just have it such that I can import it like that, Eiffel actors runtime would be much easier. But the problem is that TypeScript doesn't support it yet, and it's coming in TypeScript 5. Is it 5 or 1.5 or something? What are we on? 4. Yeah, I think it's coming in like version 5, which is not set to arrive until later in the year. So until that time, I'm just gonna, like, rather than try and hack, like, there is a hacky way to do it, but I couldn't really be bothered to do it. I didn't really want to add it, and actually I could, I guess, change the build such that it copies like the package JSON into dist, and then we publish the dist directory, which would also kind of work. But it's just another, just a whole bunch of work that I thought would be solved for me later, and then I can just add that exports property when TypeScript supports it. So until then, we'll just have this dist act as annoyance, but it can be removed pretty easily when it's fixed. So anyway, so what I've done is I've created a class runtime, implements the actor runtime, so they're both called runtime, so that's fun. Yeah, so I could maybe import everything, but anyway, actor runtime, that's the interface that is exported from here, and I've just asked TypeScript to implement all the methods in this, and it comes up with all of these stubs for me, which is quite nice. And then I'm just slowly, so I've added all of these private properties. I'm using the hash hash properties, I guess you call them, rather than just TypeScript's private, because actually when this so private in TypeScript doesn't translate into something that is private when it's run. It's just it's just while you're coding TypeScript. Whereas using hash, the hash properties are actually a language feature that will make these properties not accessible to anything that isn't a subclass of the runtime. So instances. So the idea is that whenever we eventually have other actors, if that ever happens, that have access to this runtime, they won't be able to access these private properties at all. There just won't be a way, and they won't just be conventionally private. So anyway, you can see I've just sort of copied over all of the things that are in the struct for runtime in Lotus. So let's just open, maybe we need to open up Lotus, don't we? Lotus. Oh wait, no, that's not the wrong Lotus. Let's try again. Here we go. Whew. Wow. So we're looking for, I don't know, I've changed some things here, so let's just get rid of this. And then what am I looking for? So VM, let's move this outline down a little bit. VM runtime, so here we go. So there's a message in here that basically does nothing aside from add a check for a undefined or non-ID address in caller and receiver. So, and then that's fine. Yeah, so I haven't copied this bit yet. The runtime struct, so I've got all of these things here. Notice all of these are private in Go. So I've copied them. And so now I'm just sort of randomly working my way through and implementing bits and pieces as they sort of come to me. So where was I? I think I'm here. So I thought I'd try implementing stateCreate, stateCommit, and stateCommit. Yeah, this is interesting in that I think TypeScript again will soon it will support hash real life private functions methods, but it doesn't yet. So until that time, it will be labeled private and also have an underscore. And we can swap that out when it supports it. But I think that's also coming in version 5. So there are things that need to be updated when that happens. Okay, so state commit. So I guess this will, because this is not going to be, I think this is not a public thing. Let's have a look. Yeah, here we go, state commit. Yeah, so this is not public in Lotus, so that's fine. So let's put it down here. And these are CIDs in our world. We don't get the magic double parameter of the same type, only one type, which is great. So we'll have to say CID twice, and this apparently returns an out error. I think this is going to be async, and okay, so it will be this dot receiver. That's not async. That's just synchronous. So this dot state dot get. We'll need to get actor. There we go. Sorry. Oh wait. Actor dot head is not equal to. Okay. So these will be CIDs. We can't compare CIDs like that because JavaScript. So then we will errors.fatal. What does that do then? Actor error. It is fatal apparently. Okay, so this will have an exit code 0 because the because nil type for exit code is 0 because it's in int64, so that's funny. Okay, this looks like I'm just gonna need to throw a error, I guess. We'll see. Oh. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't the code I think it is. And then I think we'll have to do this dot wait, this dot state dot. Oh, it's okay, cool. Yes, it's a private. It's private. State dot set actor This will be small. Okay, interesting. So I don't know what state. Do we have a type for state? Oh, state tree, yes. Ah, okay, cool. So I haven't implemented that. So this came from, so this is interesting because in the chain VM package in Lotus, there it does depend on other types in the chain package that I'm just sort of stubbing out for now. And I guess we will implement them. I don't know, maybe there will be a chain types, like state types for actors, but chain types that can be shared between VM and the VM and the chain, the rest of the implementation. But for now, I'm just putting these in here. So state tree, we need so we're going to have a get actor method. That's going to take an address. Maybe we can have a look at what happens here. Okay. Yeah, it takes an address and returns a type.actor. Okay. Interesting. And so I guess this will need a identifies the type of actor string coded as a CID. Okay, yeah, got it. Oh, hang on. Okay. So this takes an adder, which is address, and returns a promise of an actor, which we don't have yet. It's an interface, so that's not, we don't have to implement it just yet. And an actor is, let's create a new actor. Should be pretty easy. And then what have we got for actor? These things. Yep. I'm pretty sure this gets serialized, so I'm going to just go ahead and add the CBOR, encode CBOR and decode CBOR methods to this nonce. uint64 is going to have to be a bigin in our world, and that's actually a bigin balance. So I guess that's a token amount, right? Okay. Encode CBOR method, so then we return, this will be a code. So the cool thing about the CBOR encoder is it knows about CIDs, so you don't have to do anything with those. This dot head, so this dot nonce. What do I have to do with that? Big, it's a bit, I don't have to do anything with that, that'll be handled. And then we need a encode big int, I believe. Right, so okay, no, fine. CID from multi-formats, that's great. And then import Whoops. So I created this IPLD CBOR package because it's needed by here and act. So I need these encode begin functions. What else does it have? It has so it has the store, a CBOR store, which I need in both actors and here. And this is just encoding things, hashing things using Blake2B, and creating CIDs, which is rad. And there's like a memory CBOR store, which is super useful in tests and stuff, but it's also used in the VM to get a CID of an empty map and stuff, which is kind of useful. But yeah, the serialization error, that's fine. The begin stuff is the things that I need in here as well as actors. So we have that stuff all in this IPLD CBOR kind of utility package, rather than, it's not actually the DAG CBOR implementation. But I guess it could export stuff from DAG CBOR. Anyway, let's get on with it. We should probably rename that something else because it's more utilities than an implementation. But we have what we have, so that's good. We have it. We can rename it. Disable. Decode. Decode the CBORs. We got an object, which is maybe anything. There is already a issue that I've created for like all of these decoding things. We need to be more strict about. So we're just, at the moment, we're just trusting that DAG CBOR, obviously, if it can't decode it, then it will throw. But if it decodes it, and what it decoded it as is like, if I'm expecting a uint8 array and I get back like a string, then I'm not expecting that. And because JavaScript, when this gets compiled, it will just like assign a string to a property that is expecting to be like a uint8 array, because there's no types, and then you won't know at time of serialization that that's wrong. You'll only find out when we try and use that thing and it's not what is expected, and that will be really difficult to track down. So these decoding functions need like to be tightened up, and the types need to be verified before we create the instances. So yeah, there's a to-do to do that, but so for right now, I'm just trusting that what I get is what it should be. Code one. So two, but this will, so what will happen is the decoder will decode whatever value was encoded here, and so when it encounters something like a big int, it will encode it as like the smallest width of like typed thing. Like if it's really small, it will encode it as like an int8 or whatever, and then when you read it back, it will be converted into, because it fits in a number in JavaScript, it will become a number. But this, because it's a uint64 in Golang, which can hold values larger than the maximum value of number in JavaScript, we have to use a big int here. And so what will happen if it's below like the maximum size of a number, then this will be a number, and so we need to cast it as a big int, or create a big int from that number, because we're expecting a big int here. If it's bigger than a number, it will come back as a big int, and then if we pass a big int to the big int constructor, then that's fine also. So that's why I'm doing that there. And so here I need to decode big int from object free. So for this one, because this is actually a big int in Golang, in Lotus. I mean, when this big int in like the Go's big int gets encoded, it gets encoded as a uint8 array. It doesn't get encoded as like a regular int or int16, int32 or whatever. It gets encoded as a uint8 array, and it's whatever encoding this brings you back. So this is like a big endian uint8 array. Yeah. So we need to decode that into a big int, uint8 array into a big int. So this is fun. Anyway, actor. That's that. That's great. So we can hopefully import that. That's great. Address is a Filecoin address. Do we have that yet? Have we depended on it? No, that's why it's not suggesting it for me. Let's just add that. Great. Now maybe. No. Okay, great. Okay, so promise of actor, and then we had a set actor, didn't we? So what I'll do is I'll leave this as an interface for now, but we can come back and fill this in later. I think it's not returning anything. Let's have a look at what Lotus does. Get actor, where's this? Let's delete actor as well. Okay, we'll fill these in as we encounter them. Set actor, yes please. Here we go. It just returns an error, so yeah, that's going to be a void. Cool. Address and act. Yeah, great. Perfect. So, state commit. So now I can get actor. Right, if the head is not what we expected it to be, then that's bad. Make the head this new head, and then set the actor. Cool. So then state commit. Oh yeah. Okay. So we've got this state commit empty object CID. So this is going to be fun. So let's have a look at what happens in Lotus here, because you'll be interested in this. Where will we be? Where will we use it? So yes, we were looking at state create, weren't we? Yeah. Empty object CID. So this is what I was talking about. This is why we have the Cbol package, because I got this is where I was before. Empty object CID. This is what I was looking into. So I'd gone depth first rather than breadth first this time. So yeah, so I looked at this and I realized that actually, so this is set in this init function. Init functions in Golang are called, so I think it like before, after things have been loaded, but before things start running, I guess. But they annoyingly, they can have like async stuff in them. So yeah, what's happening here is we're creating this new memory Cbol store, which we now have. And then we're putting a slice of nothing struct, empty struct. Yeah, I think that's just an empty array for me. for JavaScript. So then we've got get a CID for the empty object. Yeah, so I need to figure out how to do. So where's this make mook actor VM mook actor fine. So I guess what we'll do is we can have empty object CID as a just a function that you can call in make actor. Let's copy that. Do I have a mook actor? Nope, let's do that. So let's do a empty object CID. It's going to be null initially, but what we'll do is we'll export it's going to be async. Let's just make sure we know what this is. We're in TypeScript, of course. Oh. Okay, so if we have that CID, then return it. That's fine. Otherwise, new memcball store. That's cool. I like that. And then we are doing ct.put. Wait, oh, we're not in. Actually, we can just assign this directly, can't we? Yeah, and return it. There we are. Nice. Oh, seriously. Okay. Maybe I don't have multi-formats installed. Maybe that's my problem. That is my problem. All right, so other things use the multi-format, so it's not the end of the world, but I should list it as a dependency if that's what I depend on. So cool, I put it in there in the memory, and then that gets freed, but there we go. And then we'll just use that. So back in the runtime, where's the error? Here we go. Trying to be consistent with this capitalization. It's all over the place and go. We need to await this. Cool. That's stateCreate. Nice. Okay. Let's commit that. All right, and then I think that's enough for today. Bye bye.